Why don't you tell me a little bit about your early childhood? Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in a small town in northwest Iowa. It's called Lemars, L-E-M-A-R-S, and many days it felt like you were living on Mars. It's a kind of quintessential American town where you don't lock your doors, you don't lock your car doors. The schools are really great, and you can trust your neighbors. But about as soon as you hit 18, you get bored out of your skull and need to bolt. But it was a great childhood. My father was a school teacher when I was really young. But he soon realized that being a school teacher back then wasn't going to be enough to get his kids through college. So he made the drastic change and got into investments, life insurance, annuities, and things like that. And I always admired him a lot for that because going from one vocation to such a drastically different vocation in a financial sector, with the education he had to obtain and just the business sense he needed to learn. Was always an inspiration to me. If you go on our website, my dad is listed as my most inspiring person. But growing up in my family was great. It was really kind of almost a Leave It to Beaver type thing, to where you see the TV shows. So I was very blessed and very fortunate. My father was really into sports. My brother grew up all-state in every sport he ever played. Went to University of Arizona to play baseball and almost made it pro. My thing was always football. I dropped most other sports and trained year-round for football. But as I got older, I needed to get out of the little town. I wanted to go to a big school, and I got about 13 scholarship offers to go play at schools for football, but they were all to small schools except for Kansas State. So I just decided to drop football, and it was really sad for a while, but I went to Iowa State to get my degree there. And the funny thing is, the reason I didn't go to Kansas State was they were terrible, and I didn't want to play for a big school if they were terrible. And my senior year, they went to a bowl game, so I would have been a senior at a bowl game. But I really buckled down, and I'm a firm believer in education. Anyone who's ever been around me knows that. And I had my fun and my parties and everything, but I studied very hard and managed to graduate first in my class at Iowa State. Then it was off to law school. So that's kind of the early years, I guess you could say. My mom's family's from Iowa, and my dad's family's all from upstate New York, so we split time between upstate New York and Iowa. And had a dirt bike, and always would go in the woods and shoot guns and all the kind of fun stuff. And it was a great childhood. I'm very, very blessed and very fortunate to have the parents and the family that I had.
What was your relationship with your family like? You had siblings. I mean, did you guys get along? What was your place in the family?
Like I said, it was dang near Leave It to Beaver, the modern version. I'm the oldest of two sons. My brother Matt. And I grew up playing sports together, riding dirt bikes together, fishing together. I'd always beat the hell out of him and his friends when they came over, because that's what big brothers do, I guess. But my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so all through high school I would go home for lunch and have lunch with my mom, watch Days of Our Lives. So my parents never missed a game, never missed a debate tournament when I had debate, never missed anything. My grandparents were always there. And, I was just very fortunate growing up with such, supportive parents and a really great brother. So really no complaints. When you look back, I'm just very blessed. And I had a lot of friends that came from broken homes and didn't have, necessarily the perfect parents or the perfect brother or whatever. But I really grew up in kind of a fairy tale land, to be honest with you. I mean, it was in boring small town Iowa. But, people have integrity there, and you learn the difference between right and wrong there. And, everyone goes to a good church, and you can trust people. And when people are down on their luck, everybody around them kind of goes and helps them. And, you learn ideals about integrity and about loyalty and about hard work and about dedication. And all these things that I've tried to instill in my players at Complexity, I learned, back in small town Iowa.
So would you say that your family relationship has been very important to you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I ended up moving down to Atlanta to go to law school and then stayed there for 13 years. But, we're the kind of family who talks, at least a couple times a week and always get on airplanes and see each other for the big holidays. And, I don't see them nearly as much as I'd like to because I'm just not interested in living in small town Iowa. I just need more action and, you know, more things to do, and culture and museums and beaches and things like that. But no, I couldn't say enough good things about my family. I've been incredibly blessed. They've always supported me emotionally, financially. You know, it's just been very blessed, I guess, the best way to say it.
That feeling of connection to your family, is that something that you identified in with your players as well? You feel connected to your players?
Absolutely. I really believe in the family unit, and you know, without going on this long, boring tirade about what I think about the disintegration of families in Western culture, I believe that the family unit serves and stands for many good things in life. I believe that God created, you know, the family and created marriage for a reason, and I think it's healthy for people to be involved in a strong family. And you know, by no means is life perfect, and I'm not trying to paint this pictures of roses and cherries. My wife and I, we have it out. You know, there's some days, you know, I want to walk, but the ideal of family and the ideal of my kids being brought up in that type of atmosphere is what keeps me going back. And you know, I try to bring that to complexity. You know, at some level it's tough in a business, because in a business you have to be competitive. In a business you need to cut players and you need to fire staff. And there's a lot of people out there that mean a lot to me that hate my guts now. But you know, that's why it's tough to truly have a family atmosphere in business, because with a family, no matter what, you're there for them. In a business, if someone just goes off the rails, you got to cut them loose. That's the business side. But I think complexity, especially in the earlier years, was really always based around a family attitude. Complexity was always based around it's us versus the world. And we stood for something that, in my opinion, has never been seen before or since in gaming. And the best word is family. And when I, you know, first put my roster together, you know, the one that won ESWC, there was a sense of camaraderie. I'd fly to New York or LA or wherever with the players, and we'd hang out in hotel rooms, and they'd play poker, and we'd go to dinner together, and you know, we were friends. I guess, you know, in some sense I was the dad, because I was paying all the bills. But you know, complexity, even from our staff, we have private channels in IRC, and the players, it's just really a family type atmosphere. Not so much today as it was. And I don't know if we'll ever really be able to capture that, because we've got so much bigger and we've had a lot of player turnover and things. But even today, we have our private channels and our Ventrlos and things, and we talk about life on a daily basis. And it may sound sad, but some of my best friends are people I talk to 90% on the internet. But they're like family to me in a certain sense. And I think any successful organization, to some extent, has to have a family atmosphere. You even look at huge corporations like Google. You can ask anybody that works for Google. They feel they're part of something. They feel they're part of a team. There's a we about working at Google. And that's how I want complexity to be. Whether you're only making, you know, art or moderating the forums, or you're a superstar Counter-Strike player headshotting in Paris. We're all kind of in it together, and that type of atmosphere, I think, you know, separates us from the average organization. I think it leads to our success.